Finding Happy. The Ultimate 30-Day Guide to Creating Wealth, Maintaining Health, and Achieving Lifelong Happiness. By Mark Manderson. I decided to write this book as I once had a limited mindset that led me to believe I was incapable of change. I went from being jobless, kicked out of where I was living, suicidal, and not thinking it could get much worse, and in less than a year turned my life completely around. I got a job, found a place to live with a roommate who helped me get to a better place and enjoying life. But I was still struggling. I had come a long way, but I wasn't truly alive yet. Fast forward 5 years and I was introduced to the greats such as Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and Les Brown, to name a few, and started to experience how life is meant to be lived. As these mentors began to help shift my entire belief system, the gates were blown open and I was out running in uncharted territories. It was as if life was waiting for me to show up before it was willing to give me all that I wanted, and it even had step-by-step instructions of how to achieve it. I doubled and then tripled my income, and I went from unhealthy and unfulfilled relationships to marrying the most amazing woman and now have 2 kids who have added such a rich enjoyment to the wonderful journey of life. By utilizing the steps I'm about to share with you, I am a walking testimony that every one of us has been given all we need to succeed, and that it's as simple as spending some time with one's self and practicing a few small disciplines daily that will allow you to reach every dream you've ever had. Several decades ago they laughed of those that had a dream to walk on the moon, and centuries ago they laughed at a crew that had set sail to find a new life while taking the risk of falling off the edge of the earth as it was once viewed as flat. As for my own personal journey, many telling me of why I couldn't do what it was I dreamt of doing, which is helping others, regardless of their external circumstances, learn how to be truly filled with joy, and to ultimately find their happy. This book is designed to work as a quick daily read, no more than 5 minutes per day, and to be implemented by taking immediate action with the daily challenge. Ideally, you will incorporate all the aspects into your daily routine to really kick life into overdrive. Day 1, Happiness. Happiness doesn't come from big pieces of great success, but from small advantages hammered out day by day. Franklin. Many people think happiness lies in money, job, significant other, basically all external circumstances. If it is dependent upon these things, then it means you have no control over being happy. Others believe it's simply the absence of problems, which again suggests happiness is dependent on external circumstances. This is the story most people tell themselves of why they are unhappy. What if I told you that all of the above have nothing to do with happiness? All those listed items are great, but they elicit an emotion. How you view and deal with the problems, the money, job, etc., is what ultimately leads to unbridled happiness. By learning how to control your emotions in order to have them serve you, one is able to stay in a state of happiness every day of life. Here's an example. I work in the addiction field and I am continually stunned at how we have become a medicated nation. The answer to depression, the professionals will tell you to take this pill. The answer to anxiety, they make a pill for that too. How about insomnia? No problem, just swallow this. High blood pressure or cholesterol, no need to work out, just take 2 of these and call me in the morning. For those that are groggy in the morning, Pharmarica has you covered as well. I'm not saying all medication is terrible, I'm actually pro-medication if there is a chemical imbalance, as most individuals I work with are dual diagnosis and do take medication that yield wonderful results. What I am saying is that as opposed to working for the desired result, the younger generations seem to want the quick fix, which always has long-term side effects. I have worked with thousands of individuals and I see anxiety and depression as the top 2 issues, and almost all that come to me have some form of medication cocktail as a solution for what ails them. Many don't know that I battled severe depression with suicidal tendencies as well as a brief stint of insomnia well over a decade ago. I was desperate for change, however didn't want to find it in a bottle. I found a few mentors that redirected me on a different course, thus changing my life. The insomnia one was simple, although the process was miserable, but we will get to that solution on day 3 of Sleep Habits. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but stay with me. You must have enough sleep in order to function at your optimum production. With sleep deprivation, no one can sustain happiness. So assuming you're getting your ideal rest, which allows you to run at full steam, we can look at the next potential step. Now you want to ensure you're feeding your body the correct fuel, which we will dive into on day 5, as these 2 steps are the most important for running at peak state. I have seen countless individuals who have been diagnosed with AD, insomnia, depression, anxiety, and several other diagnoses that came to me in a partially sedated state, thinking that was the answer, and how they were now forced to live. As I shared with them my story, many made the choice of informing their doctors that they'd like to wean off the medication, and through proper sleep training, weight training, and emotion/mind training, were going to cure themselves of their emotional diseases. It's worked for me, I've seen it work for countless others, and I believe if you're willing, you may find the same results I have. Now comes the most exciting part. Study after study backs what I'm about to share with you. The most astonishing use of this methodology was when I was lucky enough to sit with Patch Adams, the doctor who has cured patients with cancer through love and laughter as opposed to medicine, and took part in an overnight seminar. He taught about the power we hold within ourselves. There have also been studies conducted of clinically depressed individuals who, even while on medication, still presented high levels of depression, and that were taken off of their meds to take place in a 4-week study where they smiled in front of a mirror for 20 minutes every day. After the 4 weeks, not one stated that they felt depressed or needed to return to medication. All they did was change their brain chemistry by changing their thinking with smiling. By doing one simple motion, and putting the natural emotion of happiness that a smile brings, they were able to cure themselves of their depression. Happiness is a state of mind. What can you do today to achieve this state? Daily challenge. This will be awkward, but if you stick with it, you will begin to feel the powerful pleasure of being able to be happy at any time you chose, instead of the awkwardness you'll feel when starting. Today I want you to look in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes, smile, and for 5 minutes, which will seem like an eternity, say "I love you." This will relieve stress, diminish depression, and ultimately, if you make it a daily habit, can add years to your life. For more on affirmations and incantations, visit my resource page to view Ultimate Edge. Day 2, Discipline. Once you say you are going to settle for second, that's what happens to you in life. JFK. Discipline is imperative for any level of success, but is not as difficult as you think if done on a daily basis. Another great way to put it is that the price of discipline pales in comparison to the price of procrastination. If little moments of discipline are adhered to daily, then the foundation is built. What is the price that you are going to pay to achieve what you've been dreaming of? Is it giving up 20 minutes of sleep to work out each morning to get that healthy feeling and tone body you want? Is it giving up 30 minutes a week to volunteer at that organization you love in order to find your fulfillment and happiness? Or is it giving up that morning coffee in order to save the $2 a day and put towards your financial future? By making that small sacrifice today, it leads to greatness down the road. Let me share with you a little example I use anytime I begin to rationalize of why it's okay to slack on my commitments just for a day or two. For this example, I'll use saving the $2 each day as opposed to buying that coffee or energy drink. It's easy to think $2 is not a huge amount, so I have to jump into the future to wrap my head around an amount that makes it too painful to spend that small amount today. I call it my 10-year test. What I do is I'll multiply that cost out 10 years and utilize the beauty of compound interest to really hit it home for an emotional anchor. Again, for argument's sake I'll often use a conservative growth number that shows the power of investing the $2 a day into an account that yields 10% per annum, and by doing some quick math, I can see that equates to around $1 million and my jaw literally hits the ground. Okay, so it isn't exactly 1 million, but I want it to be dramatic enough to catch your attention of how one simple sacrifice can be made to drastically change your life. For those who wonder what the real answer is, you would have about $15,000 for just giving up that daily cup of coffee and saving those few dollars each day. Now if you want to get really crazy to put an even stronger anchor for that single cup of joe, try multiplying it by 20 years and you would have over $50K. So why not say goodbye to Starbucks, and hello to that fancy car you always dreamed of? I hope you can see that by using this exercise, you can see how a small daily discipline can compound over time and how it gives you the leverage to get what you want. That $2 cup of coffee suddenly turns into a $50,000 cup of coffee. I used this exact methodology to give up energy drinks, combined with the terrible adverse effect it has on your health, and am incredibly thankful I finally utilized the discipline to stop. Daily challenge: what is one thing you are giving up today to begin achieving exactly what it is you want? Is it 30 minutes less of TV time to connect with your family? Is it saving money each month to become financially free? Whatever it is, write that commitment down and tell as many people as you can for accountability purposes, so you don't back out, and commit to it today. For more in-depth information on discipline, visit my resource page to view No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline, Tracy. Day 3, Sleep. The only thing that comes to a sleeping man is dreams, Shaka. Sleep is necessary and a wonderful tool to regenerate. Most abuse it by either lack of sleep, too much sleep, or poor quality of sleep. I grew up thinking I needed 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, yet I would still wake up tired with no energy after a full night's rest. I was all over the place going to bed whenever I was tired and waking up at all different times. I then began to suffer from insomnia after college and wasn't sure how to fix this problem as I yearned for even just a few hours of sleep. I found myself experimenting with over-the-counter sleep aids as a temporary fix, but with that slippery slope, I knew I had to find a better, long-term, and safer alternative. I came across some studies and applied the information I learned. By going to bed, different than falling asleep, at the same time every night, and waking up at the same time regardless of how much or little sleep I received, the process of a sleep schedule began. Furthermore, by eating healthy and working out daily, your body resets itself and gets back on track. I remember for weeks I would lie in bed unable to fall asleep, sometimes only 20 minutes before I had to wake up, but by making that commitment and staying the course, within roughly 3 weeks my body realized the new cycle, and for over a decade now, when my head hits the pillow, I am out in a deep sleep. Now I had a new problem of oversleeping. Can you appreciate the irony? Warning: this section is highly controversial as almost all research shows 8 to 9 hours of sleep is needed. If you are currently getting this much sleep and are pleased with your results, skip this section. If not, give this a shot as it has worked for several years and leaves me with a higher level of energy, and a much higher level of productivity from life. A few years ago I started researching how to sleep less but still achieve a peak state, and what I learned was astonishing. What I came across was that an optimal amount of sleep was around 6 hours, given the sleep quality was high. The key was going to bed at the same time with a routine 15 minutes before, as well as waking up at the same time with a 15-minute routine upon waking. The body runs in cycles, and by going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, you can program your sleep cycles, finding that you will awake feeling refreshed and excited for the day. I've personally found that by going to bed around 10:30, and falling asleep around 10:50, and waking up at 5 a.m., and I am not a morning person, that I wake up at the most optimal time of my cycle, feeling alert and refreshed. the top priority being the quality of sleep, as you must complete all cycles. If you awaken during a cycle, unfortunately you don't start where you left off. In that cycle, you have to start from scratch, so it's important to have a dark and quiet environment. Daily challenge: find your body's cycle. To do this, go to bed at a set time tonight, and set your alarm at a set wake-up time roughly 6 to 6.25 hours from sleep time. It takes a few weeks of trial and error to find your cycle's sweet spot, but when you do, you awaken with energy and can experience much more in life. For more in-depth information on sleep cycles and sleep hacking, visit my resource page to view Sleep Hacking course. Day 4, Workout. Take care of your body, it's the only place you have to live, Ron. You won't regret a workout once you do it, but you most often will regret it when you let the excuses talk you out of it. The trick to doing this religiously is to make a commitment today and to make it realistic. There's a reason why almost everyone fails when they make a New Year's resolution. It's oftentimes unrealistic, such as, I'll work out for 2 hours a day, and eat perfect, and they set themselves up for failure before they even start. Sure, the intentions are pure and plausible, but it makes no difference if it's not achievable with your current lifestyle. By making the commitment along the lines of today I'm going to put on my gym clothes at 6 a.m. and work out for 15 minutes, is enough to follow through, and you will be amazed with how easy it is to follow through. I can tell you that after a week of doing this, you'll find yourself staying longer than 15 minutes. Not too bad, you overachiever you. Daily challenge: set it in your calendar to work out for 15 minutes today. If you're not sure of what to do in order to work out, or how to work out to get maximum results, I've created a program that I've implemented into my personal lifestyle where it only takes 15 minutes a day to get a complete workout, and with no gym needed. I went from 215 lbs at 24% body fat, down to 188 lbs at 16% body fat. For my complete 15-minute workout plan, visit www.notimtowerworkout.com. Day 5, Food. The key to eating healthy is to avoid any food that has a TV commercial, unknown. The most difficult part is making the decision to eat healthy. After that it's easy. I fought it for years, and every time I tried to implement this, I reverted back to fast food as it's so quick, cheap, and easy. I didn't think I had time or would even remotely enjoy healthy eating, until I found myself having to make time as I was constantly lacking energy and found myself becoming sick multiple times each year. So I ended up tricking myself into eating clean. Instead of doing it all at once, I made a commitment to have a protein shake and 4 eggs scrambled each day and then eat whatever I wanted the rest of the day. I found myself liking my breakfast and looking forward to it, as some days I'd add a little tapatio, some days avocado, other days some strawberries. I started getting creative, but the point was after about 3 weeks it was easy and much healthier than the regular sausage egg McMuffin, cheaper too. Then I thought, I can take a healthy snack to work, so at least I'll get 2 sittings in of eating healthy, and then after that I can eat my normal junk food. After several weeks of that I had energy in the morning but not in afternoon, as I was missing lunch due to my workload, so I thought, what the hell, why not make a healthy sandwich, BBQ some chicken, etc. and take my lunch. After a month I committed to a healthy snack #2 of nuts, and it became easier as I had more and more energy. By slowly integrating healthy foods as well as substituting foods at my normally frequented fine dining establishments, McDonald's, In-N-Out, Jack in the Box, etc., I found myself having a ton more energy and looking better, shedding the fat as I was putting cleaner fuel into my body instead of sludge. An example of substituting are the following. In In-N-Out I used to order a 3x3, a shake, and fries. I now substitute for a 3x3, or sometimes a double protein style, so I still get the flavor I love, an iced tea instead of a soda or shake, which is 0 calories, and if I do get fries, which is rare, I only eat half the order and throw the rest away, or sometimes will have them split it into 2 bags and will order another burger, and I'll swing by where our local homeless guys and gals hang out so that I'm helping someone and at the same time bettering myself. This is called bulk tasking, which I'll touch on later. Another example is Taco Bell. I used to order pure filth that was over 2,500 calories in one sitting. Now I get 2 steak tacos fresco style and 2 crunchy tacos fresco style, so I again get the great taste and feel of eating out, but with 75% less the caloric intake. So many people think you have to give up food in order to eat healthy, and I refuse to. You can do it in a smart way to get the best of both worlds. Daily challenge: pick a meal this week. Breakfast I found the easiest, and make it a healthy one that's full of flavor. For a detailed list of fun and easy to follow meals, visit www.notimtowerworkout.com. Day 6, Passion. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Mandela. Some people live their entire life without finding their passion and their why they are alive. I struggled with this for most my life until my mentor asked me to make a list of 5 things I'd do if I knew that my housing costs were covered, all my bills were taken care of, and any other expenses would be paid for, in order to free me up to solely pursue my passion of what I love. I was shocked of how difficult it was to come up with any, let alone 5. And there was my answer. I wanted a better life doing something else than working a dead-end job, yet I didn't even know what it was. How could I reasonably think I would find my passion, especially if I didn't even know what it was I was looking for? Once I forced myself to make that list, I got busy living it. Do you know what your passions are? Do you have a list? To help find your passion, there are a few techniques to choose from. One consists of closing your eyes and going back to your childhood. What did you want to do when you grew up? What did you daydream about? This will help you compile that list of your top 5 things that get you excited. It is a natural law that what you focus on you will become. We achieve what we put most of our thoughts into. It's time to direct your thoughts toward your passions. Reflect on what you have been focusing on and change it if you're not currently liking the results you're achieving. A perfect example that I see again and again are those individuals who are afraid they're going to get sick and focus on not getting sick, yet that's exactly what happens. So if you focus on having more free time to pursue that passion, you will find more time. If you find yourself struggling with follow-through in achieving what you dream of, you will not follow through, as you are subconsciously reinforcing that negative pattern. Assuming you have now made a list of your top passions, you may realize that they've been on your list of things that you have intended to pursue, however you've kept pushing them off. It's time to take action in order to pursue those passions. A powerful tool that can help motivate you is to write yourself a letter from those long-lost passions' point of view. As if your hopes and dreams are leaving you like a broken relationship. Paint an emotional picture of how they've waited and believed those broken promises, but it's time for them to move on. That they are finished with waiting for empty promises to be fulfilled. It's a powerful tool that can provoke change. I imagine that it will be an emotional exercise of realizing how easy it has been in settling for mediocrity, as it did for me, and motivate you to stop saying tomorrow and making the change to pursuing what you love today. Daily challenge: make a list of your top 5 dreams and aspirations. If you're not able to come up with any, that's normal. Think back to when you were a kid and what excited you. What did you want to do? Write down the top 5, and out of those 5 items, spend 20 minutes today on pursuing your number 1 item. For more info on finding your passion, visit my resource page to view Unleash the Power Within. Day 7, Work Ethic. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Edison. It amazes me how our nation has changed from the hard work mindset that got this country started and pushed through the Great Depression, and how less than a century later the role models of today are reality TV stars that have fame and no work ethic. It's impossible to have $1 million dream with only a minimum wage work ethic. The great part of this is it is so easy to get a job these days, as most people entering the job market don't want to put the work in. Now there is a way to work harder and smarter in less time, but we'll visit that later. If you study any of the greats in any facet of life, they all say the same thing. I really like Larry Bird's rendition of it when he said, "I've got a theory that if you give 100% all the time, somehow things will work out." This part of life is actually very simple. Show up 15 minutes early to work and clean up around the building. When you're on the clock and being paid for your time, make sure you're working and tending to your job. Don't look at your phone while on the clock. Wait until your shift ends and give that day 100% as if you were paying yourself for your time. If you have interaction with a customer, give the best enthusiastic hello and "how are you doing today" that you can. If the boss asks for some help on a project, jump in and do more than is asked. Always do more than what you get paid for. It's an investment in your future and it works. It leads to raises, promotions, etc. If you run a business, give the customer more than what they paid for. I strongly believe in under-promising and over-delivering is the key to growth and sustainability. Daily challenge: spend 15 minutes today once you've clocked out helping clean up or bettering the company somehow, some way. Your boss will notice this, and if you are the boss, lead by example by jumping in and doing some of the dirty work yourself, as employees notice this and it sets the tone. For more tricks on improving your work ethic, visit my resource page to view Think and Grow Rich. Day 8, Knowledge. No matter how busy you may think you are, you must find time for reading, or surrender yourself to self-chosen ignorance. Confucius. I despised reading all through high school and college. Despise may be an understatement, as I passionately hated it and would never think of reading for pleasure. Once I graduated, within less than a year one experienced what I call the dumbing down effect. I had been attending school since preschool, so basically my entire life, and then once graduated with a bachelor's in international business, I just stopped learning. I literally felt like was getting dumber by my unconscious ignorance, and ironically this was when I truly started to learn. For some strange reason I began to devour self-help books and discovered a new love for reading. I took online classes on topics I really enjoyed. It was as if someone had taken the shackles off and said, "No more grades, no more institutions, now you learn for yourself." I felt I learned more within 1 to 2 years of focusing on what I wanted than all my schooling combined. After I made this decision to read daily and that it needed to be personal growth books, my life took off. I now read a minimum of 10 pages a night, and most nights will read more. By keeping this goal I average 2 to 3 books a month, which is roughly 30 books a year, and looking out over 10 years is around 300 books. Even if I did nothing else to further myself other than read, by keeping this commitment, I will amass more knowledge than 90% of the population. This alone continues to help me make more money each year. By developing new trades and reading how others made mistakes, thus leading to refining their methods which lead to their ultimate success, I now can learn from their mistakes and cut my growth time by leaps and bounds. Daily challenge: commit today to read 10 pages of personal growth or development books. For a list of books that I highly recommend, visit my resource page to view The Success Principles. Day 9, Service. If you can do something for someone that will take less than 5 minutes, always do it. Rifkin. Adding value to others' lives has a way of paying massive dividends in return. We were born with a feeling to serve, and it's why the most fulfilling feelings reside in us when we are doing something for others. All the greats that have changed the world did so by helping others. I've made a habit out of doing small acts of kindness for others over the years, and it has exponentially increased my happiness. Anytime I move into a new neighborhood, at some point I'm outside washing my car when inevitably a neighbor will say hello and either joke I'll pull mine around or will say that reminds me that I need to get my car washed. I smile and reply, pull it up, I have everything already out and I finished my car faster than planned, so it'd be a pleasure to wash your car. It's amazing how the relationship blossoms from that day on. They go out of their way to say hello, they will stop by more often to invite me out, and I've seen this mindset change the way they speak with other neighbors as well. About 6 years ago, one of my neighbors lived by herself, except for her German Shepherd, and seemed kind of cold to everyone. She had parked next to me one day while I was washing my car and she snarled, "Don't get my car wet," and left. I washed it for her and went back inside once I finished. A few days later she knocked on my door and stated she noticed I washed her car and had asked me why I did that. When I told her that I had gotten a little bit of water on it from the overspray of washing my car, I thought that it would be easier to just wash her entire car instead of spreading the dirt around. This ice-cold woman, in her thick German accent, hands me a bundt cake, which still to this day is the best one I've ever had, and she tells me that she's lived in this neighborhood for 20 years and no one has ever done anything like that for her. She sells these cakes for a living and wanted to thank me. Now every time I see her, she delivers a warm felt hello and even crosses the street just to come say hi. Living daily to be of service changes people. If you set the example where you live, where you work, where you hang out, anywhere, you will see this will change not only your thinking but theirs as well. By leading the lifestyle of how can I serve as opposed to I need or gimme gimme, this alters the mind and wonderful things will continue to manifest from this thought process. Ultimately, by giving to others and helping them meet their needs or wants, by default, you will find your needs and wants will greatly surpass your expectations in return. Daily challenge: do something nice for someone else today, whether a neighbor, a co-worker, etc. For ideas that will help you help others, visit my resource page to view how to practice the way to a meaningful life. Day 10, Forgiveness. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Twain. This quote inspires such a brilliant view on the power we possess when practicing the tool of forgiveness. When forgiving someone, it's not necessarily to benefit them, but to empower one's self, and to rise to a higher level in order to grow. Too often we reside in a place of a victim mentality, bounded only by the shackles we create from within. We look on our past as a place that justifies our current choices in holding a grudge as the reason why we have yet to achieve our dreams. As children we mimic what we see, which is a large part of why we all are the way we are. We're broken and have been let down, and we can either buy into this excuse and let it define us, or we can allow it to be a teacher by simply taking responsibility today. Once I understood this, I realized my life is a direct reflection of every choice I have made up to this very moment, and more importantly that I could change it. It wasn't my parents who failed in areas while raising me, which every parent fails as they're human. It wasn't my friends who let me down, which they always will as they're human too, or even a significant other. For most of my life I felt everyone else was the reason why I didn't have the life I knew I deserved. The day my life changed was when I took responsibility, and forgave everyone that I felt had wronged me. I chose to forgive my parents for their mistakes. I chose to forgive my friends and others for not meeting my unspoken expectations, and most importantly I forgave myself for living as a victim. I realized they did the best they could with what they had at that current time, and if it wasn't for them and all these experiences, I wouldn't have been on the path I am today of healthiness and happiness. The tools of change are within grasping distance, especially in these times where everything is at the click of a button. We possess the tools to easily access knowledge to grow. We can make a conscious choice to keep the parts of us we like and replace the parts we don't with new learned healthy behavior once we take responsibility for our life choices. Daily challenge: take a piece of paper and write down all the people who have wronged you. Today you are going to forgive those individuals, and I want you to repeat this mantra over and over again. I no longer will use excuses to justify why my life isn't exactly how I want it to be. I choose today to be grateful. For more in-depth information on limiting beliefs, visit my resource page to view Excuses Be Gone. Day 11. Budget. Look at our society. Everyone wants to be thin, but nobody wants to diet. Everyone wants to live long, but few will exercise. Everybody wants money, yet seldom will anyone budget or control their spending. Maxwell. It's unfortunate that the majority of people you talk to these days are unhappy with their job and don't make enough money regardless of what they actually take home. The key is to find a way to always live within your means. Depending on what strategy you adhere to, one of the best that I've seen and grown to develop is the 10/10/10/10/55/5 rule. Let me explain. For every dollar you take home, $10 you give back, whether to your church, to help others, something that is outside of yourself and will benefit others. The next $10 you put into a savings account where you don't touch that money, you let it grow. The next $10 you invest into stocks, mutual funds, CDs, and real estate, something where that money has the opportunity to grow exponentially. The next $10 you put into an education fund for books, seminars, classes, something to better yourself. The bulk, which is the $55, will go toward your necessities, your housing, bills, food, etc. The final $05 is your fun account to treat yourself and have fun with. This is how you account for every dollar you make. Now whether you make $10K a year or $1 million a year, it's the same breakdown. For years I lived paycheck to paycheck, not knowing where my money went, and never able to feel like I could afford life. By saving every receipt and accounting for every penny spent, it forced me to tackle my problem head-on and make some difficult choices which now are paying off in dividends as I'm financially free. By running my personal finances the same way I run my business, I account for costs and all expenditures, while keeping a tight rein on profits. In order for my business to survive, I must make a profit. By thinking the same way about my personal finances, I live a for-profit lifestyle. Daily challenge: keep a record of every penny you spend and write that number down. Did you make more money today than you spent? If not, it's time to look at what you need to cut back on. For more on budgeting, visit my resource page to view Financial Fitness. Day 12, Routine. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Ziegler. We are creatures of efficiency. Once we progress through the learning curve, we find more effective and efficient ways to do the task at hand. Do you go through the day tackling tasks as they appear, or do you plan your day first thing in the morning? The most effective individuals plan their day the night before. I have made this a habit. By spending time before bed, I build a list of the top 5 items I must accomplish the next day, so it is well planned out in advance. The reason why is because when sleeping, the subconscious works diligently to problem solve. I can't tell you how many times I'll wake up the next day with clarity on how to tackle the projects that I planned the night before. Now with a few simple tweaks I am able to be more effective in achieving my desired results. The final step, and this is a must, is to put a timeline together of when you will accomplish these tasks, as without putting it in your schedule and attaching it to deadlines, you're only getting half of the equation. Now that you understand this simple change, let's focus on what I strongly suggest you do every morning from here on out. I have a routine and it's fantastic. No matter how I feel when I wake up, my morning routine, which I call my ritual, gets me aligned with my purpose and gets me fully energized to live the day to its fullest? Here's what I have found works extremely well for me. 1. Start with a quick prayer of gratitude for all that I've been blessed with. I stretch while I do this along with putting a huge smile on my face, thankful for another day of life. 2. I focus on my breathing for a few minutes to get into state and begin to say out loud my new positive beliefs in the form of I am grateful, I am giving, I am loving, I am healthy. 3. I say out loud what it is I am currently happy about in my life. I am happy with my current progress, that I continue to learn, grow, and serve daily while doing what I love. 4. I say out loud what I'm excited about. I'm excited for today and that I get to create and shape my life. I'm excited of who I am and have become. 5. I say out loud what I'm passionate about and truly enjoying. I'm passionate about being healthy and active while being a student today. I'm enjoying my relationships with my wife and children. 6. Then I finish with what I'm committed to. I'm committed to reaching my goals while creating the life I want. This puts me in a peak state ready for the day. I end with closing my eyes and envisioning the day happening for me and serving me. I then picture my goals as if I've already currently achieved them and am living them today. This whole process only takes about 10 minutes, and after years of doing this, I'm still in awe of, no matter how little sleep or how bad I feel, that once I complete my morning ritual, that I am positive and truly excited and energized for the day. Daily challenge: plan your tomorrow, today. Build your morning ritual to ensure your day is exactly how you want to live it, regardless of what happens. For more on my lifestyle program, visit my resource page to view The Profound Life. Day 13, Cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation. Franklin. Clean up your life. What this meant for me started with the simplicity of cleaning up my workspace, my office, my house, and my car. After hearing that studies show an increase of up to 40% more in productivity when a workspace is deemed clean, I was in, and made this change immediately. I used to rationalize that I knew right where everything was in all those piles. However, it was nothing other than an excuse. I find that if I don't need it today or tomorrow, then I can most often just throw it away. If it is something that I will need tomorrow, I now file it away or act immediately on it and then file it as it's completed. Such a simple change, but has streamlined my workload. Same thing with my house and my car, as it leads to an increased sense of accomplishment, which in turn adds to happiness. Another reason why keeping a clean workspace is so pivotal is that most bosses have passed over promotions of messy workers, as the appearance is that they are disorganized and will take longer to complete tasks, whether it's true or not. This also holds true for how you dress, your hair, clean-shaven, etc. Do you believe others view you as clean, sharp and on top of it overall? Daily challenge: clean your workspace today. Either file away, throw away, or complete today. For more on efficient methods of filing, visit my resource page to view Double Your Productivity. Day 14, Positivity. A positive attitude causes a chain reaction of positive thoughts, events, and outcomes. It is a catalyst and it sparks extraordinary results. Box. Positivity stems from perception. The event in itself of what happened is irrelevant. It's the perception and emotion you attach to it that creates a positive environment. When it rains, as adults we tend to view it as a negative, needing to cancel plans, carry an umbrella, etc. When we were children and it rained, we used to view it as a wonderful time when we'd stop everything and rush outside to play in it. By focusing more on positivity, the result becomes a redirection of thoughts, which leads to actions. Naturally, we want to complain from what's wrong in life, to how bad work is and how much we hate our job. It's even become so bad that most prayers nowadays become complaint sessions to God. By spending each morning in positivity and thinking happy thoughts, we truly begin to learn to live with a positive mindset. It's as simple as starting your day with one positive thought that stems this change. Simply put, think happy thoughts. Daily challenge: look for the positive in every situation today. If you experience a negative thought, write down 3 alternative thoughts that will help reshape this mindset into a new positive belief. For more on positivity, visit my resource page to view Positivity. Day 15, Goal Driven. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs. Vision and goals are what keep us motivated and give excitement to life. We were made to have incredible lives of happiness and wealth. However, it's been said only 1% of the population really truly live happy and fulfilling lives. The main key is living a goal-driven life. Whether it's in work, family, free time, by having goals we constantly achieve growth. Goals stem from dreams, and as Napoleon Hill has famously written, a goal is a dream with a deadline. The first step of living a goal-driven lifestyle is writing down clear and specific wants, dreams, along with the steps necessary to reach that goal by a certain deadline. The final step is to take action today, as the majority of the world doesn't even get to writing down their goal. For those that do, for some reason either aren't specific enough, or don't take immediate action. The trick I use is I write down my top 5 goals I want to achieve, but I use verbiage as though I already have achieved my goal. Here's an example I used when the idea of this book first presented itself to me. I have developed, promoted, and marketed an incredible book that provides an intensely needed service to create happiness, with a simple step-by-step process of how to make small daily steps to help fulfill their passions, thus ultimately leading to a higher quality of life, and I achieved this by October 1st. Notice the words I used that get me excited and pumped to work on this goal today, and that I have a deadline that I need to achieve it by, as well as the phrasing as if I have already achieved it. I recall hearing a story about a top Ivy League college that the graduating class was asked what their goals were, and less than 5% had them in writing. 10 years later they followed up with those graduating students and found out that the wealth of that 5% that had goals was more than the combined wealth of the other 95% that didn't have goals. The power truly lies in the pen. Once you make that list of your top 3 to 5 goals, it's imperative you write down the 3 to 4 reasons why you are going to achieve each goal. It is so important to have weekly, monthly, and yearly goals to look forward to, and to be able to follow up with weekly reviews to measure your progress. You will find by having these goals to work toward and look forward to, it creates happiness in your life and breeds that excitement to carry you. The final proof that truly convinced me to always have goals is that after an individual retires, they tend to die anywhere from 4 to 7 years after retirement, and this is due to the direct link most have no goals or purpose once they retire. I challenge you to always have your top goals written down and work toward it to keep that excitement going. Daily challenge: write down your top 3 to 5 goals. Be very specific and write down 3 reasons why you want to achieve that goal, along with 5 steps you will complete to achieve it. For more on the power of goals, visit my resource page to view Goals. Day 16, Presence. Don't be upset by the results you didn't get with the work you didn't do, Anon. Life is a journey, not a destination. By being journey-driven, you will always ensure you are present, living in the now, and not missing the most important aspects of life that bring joy. Most times when we know where we're going, which is the first step, as most don't even know that, we miss gifts that are all around us by not being completely present. Most do this during their week of work and are known as the weekend warrior. They barely get through the week, just trying to stay afloat, and then finally come alive on the weekend. They're missing the bulk of their life. Although I've always been goal-driven and pushed hard to achieve my goals, what really put this in perspective for me was when an individual pointed out that when you're so destination-driven and trying to get to the end so quickly, You realize the ultimate end game is death that you're working so diligently on getting to. At this point I was all ears, as I still have a lot of life left. I never looked at that aspect of always trying to get to where I was going as opposed to having goals, and thoroughly enjoying the process of who I was becoming during the journey. Take the example of traveling. Still to this day one of my favorite pictures of my daughter was captured on the journey to a specific destination. We were racing trying to get to Arizona, a 5-hour drive, with our infant daughter. She's crying and my wife is telling me we need to pull over to feed her, yet I was so focused on getting to Arizona, I was missing that moment. My wife has a wonderful way to help me rethink my current process, so we pulled over and found an abandoned shack on the side of the road, propped up a seat and began to feed the little one. We were creating a memory and I had almost missed it by solely focusing on the end result. I finally let it go and snapped a quick picture to capture this brilliant memory that we had just created and that had elicited a wave of gratifying emotions. By being fully present and appreciating the now, that picture sits as one of the favorites I have. Daily challenge: whatever you're doing today, focus on the process so you can truly be present and enjoy the moments and memories you're creating. You'll continue to work toward your goal, but you must keep in mind that it is the process and your presence right now that counts. For more on establishing presence, visit my resource page to view Creating Personal Presence. Day 17, Attraction. I attract to my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether positive or negative. Losia. We are like water, like magnets. As like attracts like, and water seeks its own level, we too become and attract what we think about. It's the subconscious placebo effect, as we receive exactly what we expect or anticipate. This is why it's imperative that we think, focus, and expect the positive regardless of what hand we've been dealt or where our current state is in life. So many of the greats realized and internalized this process. I recently read a great quote that Oprah said in regards to how to change our future by simply changing our current mindset and attitude. Not only do our current thoughts attract the next thought, but it is the foundation of what our future will contain. If it has a positive alignment with our true vision, then we've applied the most difficult aspect, which is truly believing. By remembering that we don't attract what we want, but we attract what we ultimately believe in, it's time to really look at where you are in life. Is who you are currently in alignment with what you want? Even Einstein spoke freely of this philosophy by stating imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. What a wonderful way to put it. Therefore it's imperative we are cautious and aware of what we are feeding our mind and soul. Who are you spending your time with, and is that time bettering your future? Are they positive? Do they build you up and support you in what you are doing? Does your spouse, your friends, family, and co-workers cultivate greatness? What are you doing to feed your mind, to feed your positivity, to further your future? There's story after story of some of the most successful individuals who would work daily feeding their mind positive outcomes utilizing this technique. From world record holders who would envision themselves breaking the world record every day and eventually would realize what they attracted, to inventors creating pure brilliance that would end up changing the world. Daily challenge: spend a few minutes today totally engrossed in focusing on attracting what it is you want to become. Imagine it as if you're already there. For more on the law of attraction, visit my resource page to view the law of attraction. Day 18, Experiences. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Lincoln. Our life consists of moments and memories. It's not about building material possessions or things, but really creating these amazing memories. This is where we get our complete fulfillment in life. I can close my eyes and go back to the top 5 moments in my life and relive them at any time. It's similar to that movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, but with a much happier twist. That movie actually does a great job at showing how important your view of your experience is. Day after day, the news reporter he portrays is miserable and wants desperately to get out of living that same day over and over. Once he realizes that even though all the external circumstances are beyond his control, he changes his perception of how he views that day's experiences. Finally, at the end, he turns his experiences to positivity and ends up loving the very day that he previously hated. I want you to close your eyes and imagine some great moments that you have lived over the last few days, weeks, and even years. Whether it was a great moment with a significant other, a project you just totally tackled and finished at work, whatever it is, I want you to focus on what made it so great. Focus on the feeling that you just experienced. It's amazing that you can freeze that moment in your mind and live it over and over. Daily challenge: start a daily journal of moments that left you totally fulfilled today. Review your daily list each week to build your life around these majestic moments in time so you can live them over and over. This is the key to focusing on receiving happiness. For more on maximizing your experiences, visit my resource page to view Maximum Achievement. Day 19, Meditation. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think we become. Buddha. I used to view meditation as this monk-like state where you have to chant in a baritone voice while burning incense and chiming tiny cymbals. It was through internal conversations that I learned what most of us view as meditation isn't the meditation I speak of. As Deepak Chopra puts it, meditation takes you beyond the mind's noisy chatter and into the pure awareness that is the source of all your happiness, inspiration, and love. It's really more about slowing down and becoming self-aware of all the chaos that ensues in one's own head and slow the tape down to make sense of it all in order to work on focus. We've become such an immediate gratification nation where the average attention span or focus to detail is now only a few seconds. By meditating for 15 minutes each night, it allows my mind to slow down and bring the important aspects to the foreground. It allows a sense of focus and extreme clarity. It's amazing what will present itself to you when you sit in silence with just you and those few others who reside in your head and heart. Think of it more as a quiet contemplation that is a must in order to allow you to connect with your mind. By doing this, your subconscious gradually reveals itself and makes your wanted future much clearer, as well as provides the steps it takes to get there. The analogy I think of is driving down a highway in a snowstorm. You know the road is there but no clue what obstacles lie in front of you. By slowing down you're able to see much further and respond instead of just flooring it and hoping it works out. Daily challenge: spend 15, 10, or even 5 minutes today in a quiet place where you can close your eyes and let your mind roam. It will feel odd at first, but after doing this for a few weeks, it will completely change your life. For more on meditation, visit my resource page to view 8-minute meditation. Day 20, Empowerment. You are the most influential person you will talk to all day, Ziegler. What are you doing today that will lead to a better tomorrow? By asking yourself what is the best use of your time, you will begin to find hours upon hours of time that once you decide to utilize, will exponentially launch you into success. When this philosophy was first presented to me, I thought I didn't have any spare time. I remember thinking I was doomed to the life I was currently stuck in because I had to work just to make rent and to pay the bills. I started to learn about time bulking, which is finding time I'm already using for one activity and supersetting it with learning. Remember the $10 we've been putting away for every dollar made into a self-education fund? This is where we are going to start investing and putting that money to leverage ourselves. I typically drive around 1 hour a day, and during this drive time I would listen to music or the radio. Once I learned about time bulking, I made the change and started listening to seminars and books on tape during this drive time instead of the old habit of radio. I made the decision to feed my soul and was learning more each day than I had throughout my school years. I also utilize my lunchtime at work in front of the computer so I can watch a video seminar for 20 minutes. Now I'm close to a minimum of 1.5 hours each day learning tools, watching or listening to seminars, learning about new business ventures, etc. By leveraging your time and investing in the most important commodity, yourself, one begins to rapidly increase earning potential as well as add value in the marketplace. Always look to improve yourself every day. Even if it's only 15 minutes. By doing this you will begin to surpass 95% of your peers and co-workers, which will lead to making more money, and ultimately increase your happiness. Daily challenge: purchase a seminar on CD and use your drive time and break time at work to invest in your own happiness and success. Set aside 15 minutes minimum of your lunch or drive time to start the self-empowerment process. For info on some great seminars, visit my resource page to view The Art of Exceptional Living. Day 21, The Now. What you are is what you have been. What you will be is what you do now. Buddha. Do it now. Have an urgency to do it today. Quit pushing it off until tomorrow, as it will always be a day away. We are continually buying into the lie of tomorrow, and it is so easy to procrastinate and push off until later. The reality is that we will never have another opportunity like we do right now, where if it is not acted upon immediately, now will be gone and in the past. Being fully present and doing what needs to be done now is one of the most important aspects of this whole book. One of the greatest lines I've heard and utilize, is when my excuses are fully present and I think later will suffice. I combat that way of thinking by asking one simple question: and when would now be a good time? It's so important to be able to experience life as it happens while continually moving forward, no matter how little at a time. Having this sense of now will continue to keep us aware. Life is happening whether we're present or not. Are you fully taking advantage of the now? If you're reading this inside, go outside for a moment and take in the beauty. Act as if it's the first time you're seeing your surroundings. Have a childlike curiosity of being fully engaged and wondering how brilliant life is. It's mind-blowing how much we miss while speeding through life just trying to get to work, or to get home. Life has a pulse, its own heartbeat. How often do you allow yourself to get in that rhythm to truly feel it? Daily challenge: focus today on being fully present every moment. Focus on opening up your peripheral and enjoying every second. For more on the concept of the now, visit my resource page to view The Power of Now. Day 22, Confidence. Confidence comes not from always being right but from not fearing to be wrong. McIntyre. My father's little social experiment. As a child I have some faint memories of my dad taking me to the neighbor's house when they were having girls' night and passing me around for the easily extracted he's so cute while he sauntered about building rapport with all the single women. According to a very expensive therapist, this is where my issues started, by withdrawing in anxiety around women at such a young age. Fast forward to high school as well as the beginning of the college years and it magnified. Even though most label me as an extrovert, when it came to the opposite sex, I was extremely shy. As a young adult, my father noticed this pattern and started to give me weekly challenges to push me out of my comfort zone. The first question he asked me was if I was nervous when talking around other guys, and I told him of course not. So his challenge to me was to walk up and start a conversation of just saying hello and making small talk to some guys I'd see on campus. Sure, it was a little uncomfortable at first but was easy to overcome as there was no hidden agenda and I really didn't care how they'd respond. Ironically, I ended up meeting one of my closest friends during this experiment that I still to this day spend time with. The second part of the experiment was that once I got enough repetitions down and was comfortable approaching random strangers, my father's next set of advice was to go up to a group of 5 or more people and strike up conversation. Although a little more daunting, I was doing this daily, which led to me coming out of my shell while at the same time making a lot of new friends. After a few weeks this became second nature, and so it was on to the next step. He sat me down and said now the fun was about to start. He then proceeded to show me that by not having an agenda and not caring about the outcome, it takes all the power of fear out of the equation. He then proceeded to say, now go up to any woman that you're not the least bit attracted to and just strike up a conversation for pure conversation's sake. So I did. I was meeting so many wonderful women that were so genuine. It really helped force me to work on my communication skills. As this phase became the norm, he then escalated it and said to start asking for numbers. I threw up a little bit in my mouth. That was a big jump, but I'd come so far I thought, what the hell. Wouldn't you know, most were thrilled to give their numbers out, and again I was making some great networks that formed into some great friendships. Then came the final phase, which was to go up to the most attractive woman I'd see each day, converse, and get her phone number. It was amazing, as even though I had been building up and worked through the fear and anxiety, as soon as it came to potential dates, my palms sweaty, my heart raced, and my face flushed. What the hell was the matter with me? After some coaching I realized how far I had come, and that the worst case scenario I had played again and again in my head I knew would never happen. I made the commitment of one number a day and forced myself outside that comfort zone. I was blown away at the feedback. To my surprise, many of the women were eager to have a simple conversation with some random guy and never came close to my worst case scenario that I had created. Some I even ended up dating, some formed friendships that remain purely platonic, but the point is, once I built up the confidence, the outcome changed. I wasn't doing a single thing different other than my perception of what would happen. No matter what aspect in life this fear resides in, this application of overcoming the fear of rejection or failure directly relates. By building competence, I was able to breed confidence. Now I apply this to all aspects of life, and the outcome has exponentially increased in my favor. You must possess an unshakable belief that what you have is so valuable that if you don't share it with others, then they could be negatively affected. Believe what you have to share will change their lives. This mindset will lead you to overcoming all obstacles when you truly believe in yourself. Daily challenge: get outside your comfort zone to build that confidence. Walk up to a stranger in the grocery store to start a conversation. Compliment someone you've never met before on their smile. Walk up to a table where someone is eating lunch and ask if you can join them. Although there may be a little discomfort at first, this will help you grow in ways you never imagined. For more on building unshakable confidence, visit my resource page to view the Confidence Course. Day 23, Fear. It always seems impossible until it is done. Mandela. Perfectionism and the fear of failure, which are at opposite ends of the spectrum, are equally debilitating diseases. I've spent a lot of time throughout my life in both fear of failure, as well as afraid to take action due to this mindset of not being sufficient or good enough. After I began to apply the steps I'm about to share with you, I have shed those beliefs and now reside with the mentality of how to fail better, and it's amazing what I've accomplished with this mindset. Years ago I was fortunate enough to spend time with Dennis Brutus, whom, before I met, I had only heard of him as the white guy who was imprisoned with Nelson Mandela while attempting to end the apartheid. The few days I spent with him was absolutely life-changing. It became blindingly apparent that the only limits that exist are the ones that we construct subconsciously in our own minds, and that everything truly does seem impossible until it's done. Successful people think about what they want, while most others focus on their fears. From this small group, who were willing to give anything, including their lives, they were able to bring the apartheid to an end. The secret of focusing on the benefits as opposed to what could go wrong helped end this horrendous act on an entire continent, because few overcame their fear and believed they could. In fact, the two most powerful words that anyone can say is "I can." In my journey of success, I have procrastinated year after year solely because I allowed my fear of failure to control my actions. I noticed that I was guaranteed failure if I never tried, and after being coached and mentored, I kept finding one consistent truth. It was that failing is inevitable, and to learn how to fail, and fail again, and to continue to fail better than the last time is how one succeeds, and inevitably arrives at their desired destination. It's all about the process of who you become and how you learn that leads to great accomplishments. Most don't realize that even elite athletes experience fear just like rest of us, however they channel that fear to fuel their spirit and passion for competition. Daily challenge: if you knew that you could not fail, what would you go after? Write that down and take one step today that will take you closer to achieving that. Most times the thing we are most afraid of is exactly what we need to tackle in order to take our growth to the next level. For more on overcoming fear, visit my resource page to view Punch Fear in the Face. Day 24, Communication. Listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to reply. Covey. Leading experts have said that 90% of all conflicts stem directly from miscommunication. Do you ever notice when you're speaking to someone, you simply want to be heard? When communicating, I have to remind myself of this over and over again, as I often miss the mark of what message the person is trying to convey. When I remind myself they simply want to be heard, it's amazing how much smoother the process goes, as we both feel like we left with solution where we both came out ahead. Most often we become frustrated as we feel we are not being heard. If we would simply utilize the following steps, we will communicate much more effectively, as we want the other to listen and understand us, yet for some strange reason we tend to rebut or argue with others in attempt to overpower in order to get our own point across. Here are 4 steps to help with communicating effectively. 1. Effective communication is allowing the other person to talk uninterrupted. The goal is to understand what they're upset about. 2. Truly listen by being receptive and fighting the natural defensiveness that will pop up. It's imperative to listen only at this point. 3. Once you feel they've said what they intended to say, in order to ensure you understand what they're saying, mirror it back to them. It's as easy as repeating back what was just said, but in your own words, to first show that you were listening, but more importantly to make sure that you received the message as they intended it to be given. 4. Now that you have a better understanding, the final step is to look for a win-win solution where both of you walk away satisfied. These steps will help show the other person that you want to hear them, so you can find a solution that will benefit both parties. Another aspect where communication is lost isn't only in crisis mode, but also in when asking for what you want. Most people will sugarcoat or dance around an issue when asking for something they want instead of boldly asking for it, or in asking for clarity if you don't fully understand what the other is asking of you. By being direct in a kind way, the outcome more often than not will be in your favor. Daily challenge: next time someone brings up an issue, utilize the 4 steps of active listening, which to recap are: allowing them to talk uninterrupted so you can hear them, focus on understanding them and not becoming defensive, mirroring back what they said in your own words, and finally finding a solution that works for both parties. For more on mastering communication, visit my resource page to view How to Win Friends and Influence People. Day 25, Integrity. It is important to keep trying to do what you think is right, no matter how hard it is or how often you fail. You never stop trying, Wooden. It's imperative one builds integrity through honesty and character. John Wooden is notorious for teaching this principle. One thing that surprised me most when I discovered how he led his players to victory 11 out of 12 years, and to this day is one of the winningest coaches. His secret formula for success was that he focused on fundamentals, honesty, and integrity more so than winning. I've had the wonderful opportunity to have worked with multiple players that had been coached by Wooden, and the secret to his success was focusing on honesty and through leading by example as opposed to just teaching the game. He's famous for pulling more from each player than they thought they were capable of, and by always requiring the best performance possible regardless of win or lose. We have a tendency to soften the bad news and embellish the good, yet if we switch this, you will find much better results. If the news is bad, let your boss know that you made a mistake. Let your spouse know the details when you make a mistake and that you're working on getting a solution. When the news is great, share it for the great job, but focus more on getting that same feel of emotion from within so you're not reliant on outside praise. Sure, it feels great, but by learning how to self-praise, you can control your emotions and not have it be contingent on another's approval. In order to do this it takes discipline, but the rewards are huge. Above everything, when there is trust, others give more to you. In business you receive many more deals, in relationships you receive deeper connections, and in life you receive much more in return. I remember a story that was shared with me about a friend that had started dating online, and almost everyone he had met shared overly ambitious photos that they didn't quite live up to. He would get disappointed and felt they had misled him. He finally found a girl whose photo that was posted was current, and was a decent photo that sparked his interest, but when they met up he couldn't stop talking about how much more beautiful in person she was. It's amazing that something as simple as under-promising and over-delivering works in all aspects of life. By developing trust right up front you set an example for future relationships. It's so important to remember when what you say is in congruency with what you do, you build integrity. Daily challenge: be honest in all aspects today. If there's something that's been weighing on your mind, make it right. For more on Wooden's philosophies, visit my resource page to view Wooden on Leadership. Day 26, Time Management. Don't be fooled by the calendar. There are only as many days in the year as you make use of. One man gets only a week's value out of a year, while another man gets a full year's value out of a week. Richards. Time bulking is a tool that drastically changed my life. I never made the connection that we all get the same exact amount of time each day, and it's how we use it to our advantage that continues to make the gap between the successful and the miserable. Success leaves tiny little clues everywhere, and the individuals who are happy and truly wealthy have honed in on these clues and continue to reproduce them daily, and then leverage them. One of these tools that took me from working a 10 to 12-hour day, to cutting down the time in and getting an even higher quality of work out in return. By putting my top 3 to 5 to-do list together the night before, it helps direct my thoughts to streamlining how exactly I will tackle those projects or issues the next day. While I'm fast asleep, my subconscious is working away at solving my problems for me. I'm still amazed to this day how many times I make my list the night before, but not exactly clear on the best way to tackle the task, yet when I wake up I have extreme clarity on the solution, and it seems so easy I don't know how I missed it the night before. When I wake up in the morning I put a timeline together for the tasks I want to accomplish to ensure my success. I have start times and deadlines to guarantee constant movement forward. By scheduling my day and bulking tasks together, my effectiveness, as well as efficiency, has skyrocketed. Over the last year I applied this philosophy to my free time as well, and the outcome has changed my life. I figured since I was blowing through my workload, that maybe I'd get the same results in my personal life, and the results were staggering. By putting together those to-do lists for my free time, I've been able to fulfill many of my dreams simply by writing it down and planning the time. Another result I found by doing this is it greatly enhanced the quality of my life, as I'm constantly looking forward to getting to experience those adventures that I see on my calendar. Have you ever had a vacation planned and it feels like you're a kid on Christmas Eve as you get closer to that date? You start getting excited and just the anticipation gets your juices flowing. Well, that's the whole point. You can have that excitement on a weekly basis by planning mini vacations each month or even each weekend. Studies have actually shown that the quality of life is enhanced simply by scheduling your time. The next aspect that this helps cover is the perception that you have control over your own schedule and thus time. It has been proven to decrease stress and increase happiness. That reason alone warrants immediate change. The next thing I do is to plan out the larger parts of my week the Sunday before. By planning the week in advance, and then the actual days the night before, you have a blueprint to success which gives you a clear and precise plan that exponentially increases your productivity, gives you more control over your time, and ultimately allows you to live life to its fullest potential. You'll also notice that by doing this, you'll get much more work done in less time, so if you're like me, what takes most people 8 to 10 hours to accomplish, you'll get done in less than half that time so you can enjoy the rest of your day, or start those side projects you've always wanted to do but never had the time, like spending the time with your kids and loved ones. A wonderful trick I learned from author Cal Newport is to send yourself an email with your daily plans and tasks for the day so the few times you check your inbox, it's right there staring you down in the face, ensuring that you're keeping your schedule. By following through on your plan, it guarantees that you're spending that precious time wisely. Another key principle to note when you're scheduling your time is the Pareto principle, which is also known as the 80/20 rule. This states that 20% of tasks will yield 80% of your results. To narrow it down, ask yourself if the task you're about to start will greatly benefit your future. If it won't, then look to delegate it or file it for later so you can focus on those top priorities that give you the greatest benefits of your time. It's important to focus on the important as opposed to those fires that pop up. Most times the little fires are preventable by spending your time on the larger spectrum of important issues. Stephen Covey does a great job of going over this in depth in his book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Daily challenge: make a list tonight of your top 3 to 5 tasks that you need to complete tomorrow. For more on time management, visit my resource page to view The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Day 27, Curiosity. Curiosity in children is but an appetite after knowledge, and out to be encouraged as the great instrument nature has provided to remove that ignorance they were born with. Locke. Do you ever notice how children's minds are sponges? They soak up everything and are curious about the most basic elements. I have a 3-year-old and I love just watching her experience life. She is so curious and I am baffled with the rate that she learns things just by being curious. I'm surprised how much I learn from her daily about genuinely just being intrigued with asking questions simply to learn. There is a refreshing innocence that is displayed with no agenda, purely wanting to learn why. Since children haven't been programmed yet to think inside the box or coloring solely within the lines, that process of thought leads to some impressive conversations. At some point in our life we stop asking questions in fear of sounding stupid or even just out of laziness. However, it's imperative to continue to cultivate that childlike curiosity daily that help keep us thinking outside the box by asking why. There is no fear of failure or asking the wrong questions. The individuals that change world are the ones that don't know any better and are foolish enough to believe they can. The apple has always fallen from the tree, but it was Isaac Newton that asked why. Most of us have been programmed to shut that line of thinking down, or when we want to ask why, we revert to fear, so don't ask why, but will wander. I want you to encourage your inner child to explore and be curious. Daily challenge: ask why or why not. Encourage a line of questioning today simply to fulfill the curiosity you once had. By asking why as you go about your day, you may find an answer that changes your life. We've been programmed to think inside the box, and I have learned it pays to think outside the box. What have you been curious about but have not taken action to get your answer? For more on accelerated learning through curiosity, visit my resource page to view How to learn anything fast. Day 28, Optimism. A positive attitude gives you power over your circumstances instead of your circumstances having power over you. Maya. Did you know that there is a direct link with optimism and living longer, increased happiness, having a tougher mental edge, closing more deals, getting lucky consistently, and a higher level of success? Those that have learned the quality of optimism are just plain happier. Study after study has proven that by having this mindset, you will find the above to be accurate and achievable on a daily basis. By expecting abundance to come your way, by expecting to close more deals, and by expecting life to happen for you and not to you, this optimistic approach redirects you to achieving greatness. Here are 3 simple steps to becoming more optimistic by training your brain to view life in a positive light. 1. Think of it as being only temporary, as opposed to this always happens. 2. This is not my fault and this type of thing rarely happens to me, as opposed to it's always my fault. 3. There is a specific reason this happened, as opposed to it always happens this way, so why bother? While keeping this in mind, one must be realistic that if bad things continue to happen again and again, then by looking at what part you contributed you can make the correction to redirect your course as optimists do. Always look on the bright side, the view is much better from there. Another way to breed optimism is to give in to peer pressure. Stick with me on this one as we're going to make the connection. Who you spend time with has a huge impact on your behavior, thoughts, and beliefs. This is why I constantly spend time with people who are highly effective, successful, and solution-oriented in all aspects of their lives. It's imperative to have a solid core group of friends that have achieved the goals you are currently working toward. If you find your sphere of influence isn't actively living or pursuing the life you're leaning toward, you have a choice to either get busy becoming successful and find a new group, or keep investing your time in mediocrity. Daily challenge: expect greatness today and utilize optimism regardless of what comes your way. Remember that if you look for the bad, you will always find it, but if you look for good, there's plenty to be received as well. The choice is where you will invest your time looking. The true difference is simply within your perception, and only one way leads to greatness. For more on nurturing optimism, visit my resource page to view Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Day 29, Direction. Your desire to change must be greater than your desire to stay the same, unknown. Did you know that success leaves clues? Hint, we talked about it earlier. It's like the old Hansel and Gretel story of the little trail of breadcrumbs, and all you have to do is follow the clues. Most people miss a life of success as they don't know what to look for, and for those that are able to see the clues, they just aren't willing to pick them up and end up straying off the trail of success. By having faith in the process and simply honing in on these clues, you begin to see in clarity how to obtain what it is that you want. By following the clues you'll be ahead of 99% of the people out there. You must have a direction in mind, as when you don't, any trail will lead you there. By having purpose and direction, that drive will take you to where you aim to go. What are these clues, you might ask? Life consists of patterns, and when you learn to notice these recognizable patterns you begin to follow in the footsteps of success. One pattern that I learned from many successful business owners is that they answer their email in the morning before heading to work to ensure all orders and questions have been fulfilled and answered, so the moment they step foot in the office they can concentrate solely on bettering their company. Another pattern I figured out was as easy as calling the owner of the top business in this particular industry that I was interested in and booked a lunch with him at his favorite cafe. During this lunch I told him how I admired what he had created and that I wanted to learn how he was able to help so many people like he had over the last 10 years and what his main contributors to his successes were, and wouldn't you know it, he told me step by step how he did it. All I had to do was take copious notes, and then repeat what he did. By spending time studying successful people, all you have to do is mimic what they do and you too can become successful. Daily challenge: find someone, anyone, who is successful in the area that you're passionate about. Call or email them and ask how they were able to have such success in their field of expertise. Whether it's someone you've never met before or someone you know, whether you think they would never respond or would be open to it, you'd be surprised at how often you get what you ask for. Most people think too small and so they get small. By expecting the grandiose, and not settling, I think you might surprise yourself that by knowing what direction you go, many will help drive you there. For more on finding direction and mentorships, visit my resource page to view the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Day 30, Mindful Awareness. Mindfulness is the observing of things as they are, without laying or adding any of our projections or expectations onto what is happening. Boccio. Learning to master your emotions and allowing them to serve you as opposed to you serving them, is the ultimate freedom. Most people inadvertently become slaves to their emotions and are bound by walls that have been created internally. By controlling your thoughts, you can control your emotions, and just like a planted seed becomes a flower, it's by planting healthy thoughts that will lead to a healthy, successful life. My daughter just recently built a small garden and the process was wonderful to see, as it was a perfect analogy that helped raise my awareness. Shortly after she had planted the seeds, and after only one day of watering, she ran out to see the plants thinking they should have grown overnight. She couldn't quite understand the process of lag time, which states there is a natural span of time that must pass in order to grow, whether you are literally planting a seed and waiting for it to grow and bear fruit, or working for 2 weeks before you actually receive pay. Her expectation was to see results with only doing a minimal amount of work. As I explained to her that she would need to check daily to ensure it was getting proper sunlight, ample water, and to pull the weeds to ensure fertile soil, that in time her garden would grow and produce food for the family. It was difficult for her to process, but she stuck with it for weeks. This little garden box started growing so quickly it was amazing. We were picking the vegetables almost daily, and this is where the problem started. Once she saw the results, she stopped watering the plants and didn't check on them for about a week or two. When she finally did, all the weeds had taken over and ended up killing a few of the plants. Out of the 5 plants, 2 survived and still grow to this day, but the garden produces much less now. Just like the garden, what thoughts we plant daily, whether healthy or negative, it is up to us to cultivate daily to ensure growth. There will always be the negative thoughts that surface, however it's imperative to redirect them and pull those weeds. Simply by giving a little time each day to being mindful and aware of these thoughts, you can assure a highly effective mindset that leads to prosperity. It's interesting how human nature will naturally focus on the negative. It actually takes constant work to focus on the positive. With most individuals I work with, when a behavior is illustrated that needs correcting, I start with several positive compliments on areas in which they are showing growth. Only after this, I will then correct the one aspect that is hindering their progress and help them with some tools to overcome it, and will end again with another compliment. It's called the sandwich correction, which has been around for a very long time. The interesting part is, out of the 7 or 8 positives we'll cover, most often they will focus solely on the one area that they heard and unconsciously labeled as bad. It took a while for me to overcome this. When I have issues pointed out to me, it takes active listening and work to be able to pull the constructive parts out of a conversation when an opportunity presents itself for me to grow. Today I want to give this same gift to you. By building self-esteem and confidence, you can get your praise from within, so when there is a correction it can be viewed as an opportunity of growth instead of a liability. Daily challenge. The only time we become angry or frustrated is when our expectations are broken. It's time to raise your awareness of any unspoken expectations. By applying this method of self-talk, think about what expectations you may have today and how you will respond when they are met, as well as if some are not met. When you receive feedback, even if it's negative, Genuinely look for the constructive part that will enable change, even if the person giving you the feedback is delivering it in a negative way. For more information on mastering your emotions, visit my resource page to view Emotional Intelligence. Bonus Day. Day 31, The Secret Sauce, Gratitude. Gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. Ward. I really wanted to start this book with the concept of gratitude, however in my journey it took me a while to get to this constant state of gratitude. It is the parent of all other emotions, and I can't emphasize enough that this is the key to everything. Gratitude leads to making more money, maintaining happiness, healthiness, freedom, and a better quality of life. What is so difficult to initially overcome is that we have a natural tendency of not appreciating what we have as opposed to focusing on thankfulness of where we currently are as well as what we currently possess. It is important to continually strive toward goals as well as bettering ourselves. However, without this constant state of gratitude, we fall victim to the old unhealthy mindset that strips away our happiness. I want you to highlight the following phrase as it's the most important part of this whole book: the secret to wealth is gratitude. It's impossible to focus on fear when in a state of gratitude. It's impossible to be angry when in a state of gratitude. In poll after poll, they've found that the happiest and most successful individuals are ones that are thankful for what they have. It's a state of mind and emotion. I'm not saying that money and toys are bad. In fact, I think it's the opposite, and that if done correctly, they can be used to enhance your life greatly, and the key to it all is to be foolishly happy with what you have now while working toward your goals of tomorrow. Therefore, one of the main goals in life for everyone should be to learn how to reside in a constant state of gratitude. Daily challenge: make a list of the top 100 things you're grateful for right now. Here's a few to get you started. I'm so incredibly thankful for those that grow my food, and by spending all day farming, cultivating, and delivering this food, and that for a few bucks I can eat everything I want whenever I want. You get the idea. For more information on gratitude, visit my resource page to view Gratitude Works. I would like to show my utmost gratitude to you for not only purchasing this book, but for taking the time to read and apply the daily principles into your life. My hope is that you ingrain this information, and by choosing to apply it daily, that it will completely alter your life's path. You now have the tools to achieve exactly what it is that you want by writing those dreams down, making a plan of how and why you will achieve it, and by taking actionable steps today to obtaining it. By changing your paradigm in thinking, you can change your life. By focusing on changing what's internal, it matters not what external circumstances arise, but how you will respond that will lead you to true wealth. Happiness and success is a simple process when broken down into small daily disciplines. It is simple as long as you don't try to outthink your common sense, and you'll find that this leads to daily growth. It reminds me of the first house I built with my father, and in the beginning how overwhelming the process was as a whole. When I was able to strip it down to one section, one day, 1 hour at a time, I was surprised of how simplistic each stage was. By laying a single brick at a time, hammering one nail, and installing one outlet, within months just a small group of us built a multi-million-dollar house. By focusing on the process and the simple task at hand, it adds up, and this is life. By utilizing the tools in this book, you now know the steps of how to successfully construct your day, making it yours as opposed to you belonging to it. Nothing is impossible. On the contrary, you can have and achieve anything you desire by breaking down the process and taking action today. If you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. Roberts. I will leave you with this: I have a photo album of my life's greatest moments, these magical memories that I have created. It's an album of my most memorable moments that I am constantly adding to. By looking through this several times throughout the year, I get to relive the amazing times that I've created with my friends and family over my lifetime. It helps me stay in a state of gratitude and encourages me to make time to live and document my experiences building a life of wealth. As my final thank you, I'd like to offer a free subscription to my weekly newsletter. By visiting my website, www.theprofoundlife.com, you will find tremendous value of weekly tips that are geared to increasing all aspects of life, from making more money, creating more happiness, to health tips that will help you become healthy while achieving that goal body you've been wanting. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching program, you can reach me at info@theprofoundlife.com for more information.